everybody. Welcome to the Symposium podcast, hosted by Wright and Rose Gold. Y'all know the vibes over here, man. This is the show where we focus on mental health and other various things. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the marathon. Episode 102 through 104.
Yes, absolutely.
Why is it called the marathon? Because my man's
been grinding.
And so you're gonna see us. You're gonna see a lot of us.
Yeah.
You're gonna see a lot of the same clothes.
We put in work.
Put in some work. Let's talk about it.
Put in some work. Now, y'all figure it out.
Yeah. For the marathon, y'all gonna see some back-to-back episodes. We're gonna spread them out, but of course you're gonna see them. In episode 102. We got my man's Jake on. He's coming back to give us an update. He is now a father, so he's touching on fatherhood. Yeah. He's actually been busy since August. He's been busy.
Complete change.
Yeah, 100%.
Complete change.
So 102, we're focusing on my man. He's touching on fatherhood.
Yeah.
He's touching on his podcast, Don't Evolve Me.
Yeah.
And he's talking about his battle with Crohn's disease, which I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. So y'all tune into that one. In episode 103, we got Tom on. And man, that is an episode. In episode 103, we are touching on how my man's got into the mental health field, which surprised me. Really surprised me. Really did. Y'all tune into that one. How Tom got into the mental health field. Touching on the difference between being firm versus being aggressive. And last but not least, leaving work at work.
Yes. Especially because we focus on that burnout so much. We talked about that a few times.
Extremely, dude. And that...
Check that out.
Shout out to my man Tom, because he's really good at that.
Yes.
It's very impressive. Excuse me. And last but not least, we got the man himself, Dr. Joseph. We have to say doctor. You guys will see why we say that.
Yes, absolutely. Put some respect.
Put some respect on my man's name.
Great dude, man.
Episode 104, Dr. Joseph. We are touching on his profession as an eye doctor and what it's like to be an eye doctor, how he became such a thing.
That's the most interesting part.
Yeah, right? It's like a full circle for him.
For real.
Shit is wild.
Yeah.
We are also touching on not only him being a doctor, but how it's not even transitioned because he's still a doctor, but how he's taken his profession and put it into the podcast world and the world of YouTube.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is wild. He's killing it out here.
Yeah.
It was a grind, but you couldn't tell because he's just winning.
Right.
And last but not least, he does touch on something phenomenal, how mental health is intertwined with his profession, which, not to say that I didn't expect mental health to be involved, but the way it is, I was wow.
Absolutely.
He definitely blew our minds. It's dude, you're cool. You're really cool. Just nerded out, I can't lie.
Yeah.
But that's it, that's the marathon, episode 102 through 104. Anything for the people?
Man, you said enough, man. Like you said, it's a marathon, man. Just tune in. We greatly appreciate it. Just keep checking us out, man. It's worth it. It's worth it, I promise you.
Word.
Yeah.
So, thank y'all. Enjoy the episodes. And that being said, enjoy the show.
Yep.
This is the Symposium podcast with E. Wright and Romero.
I've never heard that sound before. Let's be honest. Thank you. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Symposium podcast. This is episode 104. On the other side of the chair, let the people know who you are.
People, what's up? Welcome back. This is E. Wright. Thank you for joining us for another episode. I'll kick it back over to my man.
I know what it is over here, man. Rose gold in the building. Got the gold on me. Y'all see the chain. You see the watch. In the center of the chairs. Let the people know who you are, sir.
Hey, I'm Dr. Joseph Allen. I am a practicing board-certified doctor of optometry, and I also am the host of the Dr. Eye Health YouTube channel, and I also host a a separate podcast, but that's more for other doctors called I Give a Damn. But I do a lot of cool stuff. It's fun.
Nice. And he said, "Doctor." Put some respect on his name.
Welcome.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Now, as always, before we dive into anything else, to you, Joseph, to my man E.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to the party. Damn.
Yeah, thank you guys for inviting me on. This is a great honor and kind of cool that we met the way we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wonderful having you on, sir. But before we get into anything, as always, do a quick check-in. E, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. We just did like 2 of these already, so I feel the same. I'm well. Can't complain, man. It's been a good day.
Yeah.
It's been a good day. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Still holding up?
I'm great. I'm
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. Gotta watch that YouTube algorithm. So I'm pretty well, man.
Yeah.
I like how the day has been going. A lot of wonderful conversations.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
lot of wonderful people.
Definitely.
Joseph, how are you, sir?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to be on here, get to hang out, chat with you two fellas. Today's been a good day. My family celebrated our Easter this morning.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So a little bit early, but I got to see my family, and that's always a blessing. So.
Cool, man.
Absolutely.
Good for you. All right. Well, as you guys know, whenever it comes to having guests, we don't really do the usual stick where it's doing news and whatnot. We're just going to dive right into it because it isn't about us and our nonsense. It's about what's going on in someone else's life. So, that being said, my man, can you tell the people, well, you already did in a way, but can you remind them what you do as a profession?
Yeah, so I'm a board-certified doctor of optometry. I practice here in Minnesota in the United States. For that, I'm basically your primary eye care provider. So if you ever need to see a doctor for the simple things like glasses and contacts, that's kind of like our oil change in a way. But then if you have any eye diseases that we detect, we diagnose, we manage, we treat those, usually through medical means. And then even small surgical procedures in the clinic. Anything that can be done in the clinic, that's what we take care of. If you need more invasive procedures, you go see an ophthalmologist that we co-manage with, and they do all of those surgeries in the operating room, and then we manage all the things after that. And then outside of seeing patients a few days in the week in the clinic, I produce more public education around eye care, and that's what I post a lot on social media about.
Yeah, you're not just a doctor, you're also almost like I don't like really saying this title, but an influencer.
I don't like that term either.
Yeah, thank you.
It sounds like disingenuous. It sounds like I'm trying to
It really does, man. It really does.
like trying to sell or persuade somebody.
Well, you know what it is? Whenever you hear that word, you get that stereotype of like, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
Don't forget to just subscribe.
It's so cringy to me every time, though. Like, even I got some friends that, like, when they just talk into the video all the time, it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just keep scrolling, but I get it. That's the world we live in, the time we live in. But I do agree. I don't like that word either, but it is what it is.
But outside of that word, you're not just a doctor. You're also on other platforms. You have your own podcast, two shows, right?
Well, just the YouTube channel itself, I guess. I've heard
You do some live shows.
I do some live streams and then a lot of just dedicated videos, but it's really geared toward public education. You know, I want people to know about their eyes, to take care of their eyes. I want you to know how to eat for your eyes, or what eye drops are going to be good, whether you're buying over the counter, or just to make sense of what your doctor's saying.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the way our medical industry is built, doctors barely have 5-10 minutes to spend with their patient.
Right.
And after you hear 2 words, you're like, they told me I think I have glaucoma, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So I know you're going to search Dr. Google, what is this disease? And thankfully, instead of my goal is like, instead of getting some random blog and now you think you have cancer, it's like, no, you'll get information from somebody who knows, can spend the time to better explain it.
Absolutely.
A professional, like legit.
Yeah.
Straight. That's what's up. So I am curious, how did you get into this profession?
Yeah, so that's always a good question.
And
right?
for how long?
So I think when I was a kid, do either of you wear glasses, contacts at all?
I don't. No.
I do not.
So both my parents are glasses
You never worn
wearers.
glasses before?
No.
Damn. Why don't I think you wore glasses before?
You know why? Because you and I back in the day would sometimes wear the fake glasses.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Trying to be cool.
Yeah.
We get a lot of kids that come into the clinic that want glasses so bad, you know.
Really?
Just gotta let them know, like, no, you don't.
Yeah. I got glasses when I was 7 or 8 years old and wore thick glasses all the way till junior high. And I was kind of a lonely kid in elementary school. Didn't have many friends.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot, played a lot of video games, watched a lot of movies, but I didn't really have a lot of friends, and I didn't play any sports. And I think for young kids, getting involved in sports is one of the easiest ways to make friends.
Yeah.
And so when I got into junior high, wanted to do the manly thing, wanted to be in football. Can't really play football with thick glasses on. So
sure.
my mom wore contacts. She took me in. I got fit for contacts, and it like changed my life. It was one of the experience with the eye doctor was great. Seeing the dentist, make the gums bleed, so I didn't like that guy. But I saw the eye doctor. I'm like, this is black magic. I see better. And then all of a sudden, I could play sports, and then I made friends. And with that, you get a boost of confidence.
Yeah.
And with that boost of confidence, 13 years old, girls started paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And so all of these amazing things happened to me, and I attribute it to seeing my eye doctor. And so as I continued through high school, and I was like, I kind of like science, and I went and got my contacts updated at, I think, 16, 17. I finally asked my doctor, like, what is this job like? Do you like it? Well, how did you get into it? And then I just kind of set that as a North Star. It's like, that's maybe a possibility. I could do that. And that's kind of how I got into it.
Nice.
So from like 15, 16 years old, it's like...
Yeah. At least I kept it as a strong possibility. Like through college, I'm like, maybe things will change. Maybe I'll find a different path. But I knew, like, no matter what, that I could maybe see myself doing that.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, before you even considered that as a career, there are just certain things that took place in your childhood that were like, this is, I like this. So, not even going to just having that connection with your eye doctor. Like, that was a positive experience. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and he still practices here in town.
Does he? That's hilarious.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I am curious. To not only be a doctor, we already talked about that you have your own show, like on YouTube and stuff. But those are they can be two different things, right? How'd you end up doing both?
So it is very, very different thing, right? I didn't do any social media at all until I was done with my residency. So I didn't even get a smartphone till like 2016.
Okay. Really?
And I wasn't even on social media. I really got motivated to start the channel out of a couple of factors. I think a little bit of boredom because I got a residency, started practicing, and realized very quickly that, but again, because of the way our healthcare system is set up, I'm like, I don't have the time I want to do what I would consider to be like a really good job explaining to my patient who's diabetic what is happening in their eye because of their diabetes, or what they could do to better themselves and reduce their risk of blindness. Like, I wish I had more time to explain that. And not just explain it, but show them it, because we're such visual creatures. We learn so much better visually.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I had diagrams, or I could show like a video so you could see what cataracts are, or how this contact lens will help you see better, all these different things. And at the time I was married and we weren't going to have kids. My ex-wife didn't want kids, and I was like, kind of didn't know what to do with myself, and I like just doing hobby things. So I'm like, it'd be cool to have a TV show about eye care. How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And just sort of set it as a goal and tried to figure it out. And at first nobody watched. I had like 16 subscribers. They were just my friends and family, and nobody watched for like 4 or 5 months. And it was a little disheartening because I'm like, this is good information, and I'm working really hard to make it.
Yeah.
And I had like a little mental health breakdown at one point, and one of my best friends told me, he's like, dude, you're pushing yourself too hard. Like, no matter what, just take it easy, ease on it. He always gives good advice, but he's like, just relax, go at your own pace. You don't have to put out a video every week. Figure it out in your own time, and once you're done, at least you'll have a little bit of a library to share with people. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
But then, like, shortly a month after he says that, all of a sudden one video gets shared thousands of times over a weekend, and it was like a proof of concept.
I was gonna say, how'd that make you feel? Like that first time it went, we could say that's viral. Right?
Yeah, mini viral. Yeah,
mini viral.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I that weekend, I still worked on a Saturday. I was seeing patients, and my phone was still set on giving me a notice, an alarm, every time I had an email that I gained a new subscriber.
Yeah.
And my phone was left in my office, and while I'm seeing patients, you could just hear ding, 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 ding. And I was like, what is going on? And I went back, my phone had died because it had just been going crazy. And I gained like 2,000 subscribers over 2 days.
Over 2 days?
Yeah, just because some video went crazy.
That's cool.
And it was, again, at least proof of concept. I'm like, okay, this is valuable information. People want to know about this. I'm not just speaking into a void. Mm-hmm. And
did you just leave the patient and just went home?
No.
I just went viral.
But it gave me at least that motivation to, like, okay, how can I keep doing this? How can I repeat this? How can I reach more people?
Yeah.
And so then, now it's like 4.5 years later, and I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a moving target, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's a grind, right?
Yeah, it is definitely. It's a lot more hard work. I think even some of my colleagues think I just kind of somehow whip things out of nowhere. And it's like, no, I had to put thought into this and plan it for 2 weeks and then write it and then do research.
Writing it out, researching. And it's like, this is information, like very useful information. Like, we're not watching you open a box or like, you know what I mean, or something.
Right. There's maybe 1 or 2 of those.
Well, yeah, it
you
depends
try
on what it is, but damn, that's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. Just to do, that's a great story.
I know, I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah. But at the same time, you do both.
Yeah. It's a weird balance. I think there's a benefit in the fact that I still practice, and I think I always will. I think a lot of eye doctors will tell you that even once they retire, they still practice 1 or 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. It keeps me fresh. So I'm still seeing patients. I know what their problems are. The clinic I work at, we have students, so I love to teach. And we usually have 2 to 4 students every semester or every trimester. And so they ask me questions, and I'm like, okay, if they don't know this, then this might be a good other topic, not only for me to get better, if I can't explain it well to them, then I can also sometimes turn that into video ideas. I'm like, maybe that would be a good video that everybody would like to learn from. So
sure. Nice.
So half the week, 2 days a week I'm in the clinic, and then honestly the rest of the week, 5 days a week, I'm basically working on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's a lot. I don't
It's
recommend it. I honestly don't recommend it.
Is this just you, or you have
Do you have a
team?
Yeah.
So for the first 3 years, it was just me. In 2021, I brought on a part-time assistant who was actually one of my best friends from when we were 13.
Wow.
So I've been very blessed.
I'm really taken aback.
I've been very blessed that her and I reconnected, and she was a teacher who hated her job and wanted to quit, and she was mentioned in passing, I'm thinking about trying to find like a virtual assistant position or something. And I'm like, actually, you know how to write, and I need someone to help me just, as an assistant, make sure my emails and my schedule's in place and answer things for me. And she actually writes our newsletter now and manages like our website, and she's really amazing at what she does.
Nice.
For your clinic, or for
just for the YouTube channel?
For YouTube.
Yeah. I don't own a clinic. I just work at a clinic as an associate doctor.
Okay.
So I'm just a hired hand, more or less.
I thought maybe you were saying you got her a job.
No, yeah. But
so you have a newsletter for your YouTube. Okay, that's really cool.
we also have an editor who is also, he's locally too, because you can hire editors from around the world. People in the Philippines are a famous place people will hire because they often, you can pay them fairly little compared to the United States, just because of the way their economy is.
Yeah.
But I want to support somebody locally, and I like to work with a local team, so.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely.
I met a guy named Will who's from Minneapolis, and he's getting his master's in a documentary filmmaking up in Canada right now.
Oh, yeah.
But he just works remote, and I send him video files, and he'll edit them together for me. I still edit some of my own videos, but that lives a lot. That frees up like 10 hours of my time. You know how that is, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you can pay someone.
Exactly. We've been talking about this for like a year because it is very, very time consuming.
You can hear the relief in your voice.
Yeah.
And that's the eventual dream with doing any, whether it be podcasting, whether it be YouTube channels. And you see someone like MKBHD, for example. You guys know him at all or his content?
Yeah, he does reviews on like all types of stuff.
Mostly tech.
Yeah,
he's like one of the princes of YouTube. He's got like 15 plus million subscribers. Yeah. But he has a team of like 20 people in New Jersey where he also built like a good business model around it. So he doesn't do all the video B-roll. He has somebody else do that. And he has other guy who just does the thumbnail, and he has another person who just does the like research, and another person that just does the podcast, and another person that so he's got a team big enough where it all will work independently without him.
Yeah.
You know, he shows up and still is the face and the voice and maybe the editor, but that gives him that room to expand and grow.
To make more. Content, right?
You know, his niche is a lot more lucrative than I care. And so I dream that maybe I'll be able to bring on another, part-time worker or something like that, so I can be more efficient with my time. But it's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a dream.
You're doing it.
Working it.
You've been doing this for a few years, so keep going. But I'd like to go back to outside of YouTube. Your profession, working with people, and I actually asked you this off the podcast, like when we first met.
Yeah.
What are the common things that people come in for when it comes to their eyes?
Number one is usually blurred vision, right? People, for some reason, they feel like they can't see as well. Usually driving or maybe reading, they're having difficulties there. A lot of people come in nowadays because of dryness or tearing. Their eyes are red, irritated, dry.
Is that just because of the season, or?
A lot of times it's because of computer use.
Interesting.
Your phone and computers, you don't blink as often. So in conversation, we blink about 20 sometimes every minute. But with the computer, it's about half that, or maybe 4 to 5 times a minute. So if your eyes are kept open that whole time, then your tear film evaporates.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And so then with the tear film evaporating, more salt content remains within the tears, and your tears slowly become more, almost more salty in a way. And then it gets disrupted. And then you have inflammatory cascades that result, and it becomes like a revolving chronic issue over time.
Oh shit, I mean, since you bring that up, like,
I was gonna say, how cautious are you of your screen time?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm terrible. Yeah, I'm one of the worst. Like since I was a kid, that's how I got dry eyes, because I was playing video games all day long.
So do you kind of inform your patients with that? Like,
yeah, we do.
Gotta be mindful of that.
You have to be mindful of it. Unfortunately, it's just the way our world's up. Right.
You're
not going to stop that. There are, I know, some apps that are being developed even that either have a little reminder or where the screen will blink at you. Because the camera's watching you. The camera knows when you're blinking, and if it detects that you're not blinking enough, like the screen will almost like wink at you.
Really?
To like wake you up and remind you, kind of break that almost, I don't know, how do you want to say it? It's almost like the computer's hypnizing you.
Trance?
Yeah, trance, yeah. It's breaking you out of that trance and be like, just being a little bit more mindful that, I'm staring at the screen, I'm not blinking.
Yeah, nice.
So we'll see how that helps.
I did not know that.
But yeah, probably blurred vision is the number one reason people come in, and then redness, pain, irritation, and then because we catch eye diseases, and then we instruct them like, hey, we need to see you back in how many months to monitor your glaucoma, your pressure, or XYZ.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's very interesting. Before I jump to my next question, E, did you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
I have to say, I'm impressed that you have so many of these good questions without having like notes in front of you.
I honestly, dude, like whenever, this is why we call them conversations, especially my man E, because that's what they are. It's not so much that we're doing this, the camera just happens to be there.
Sure.
I'm very fascinated with what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, let's talk about this. So,
I
but
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
It's
No, yeah, this is really cool. Like,
It comes off more authentic this way.
yeah. Like we do make an outline, like, but the funny thing is I couldn't even pull it up on my computer because of the Wi-Fi. I wasn't, so I'm just like, all right, fuck it, we're gonna just wing this. But I like it more. It's more genuine. You know what I mean? Like just from you even saying like you got into that as a kid because you didn't want to wear glasses.
right? Yeah.
That still like is sitting with me. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, so you just become an eye doctor because you're fascinated how contacts made you change as a person. That's really cool to me. Like, crazy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, like we said it already, but like we appreciate you coming on the show, and we're still not done.
Can we explain how this even happened? I thought we were gonna start with that. Because that was really cool.
Okay. Oh my god, I don't even know how long it was. Like 2-3 weeks now.
At least about a month, yeah.
About a month ago, yeah.
So a month ago, we were here. We were setting up, and we were setting up for the episode with Ernie. Y'all go check out that episode, God's Work. Beautiful, beautiful episode. Shout out Ernie too. And as we were setting up, this gentleman over here,
He was coming from a run, right?
yeah, came in, not into the room, but came into the building. He walked by, didn't think anything of it, but then he came back. He just kind of leaned over and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Eric talked to Joseph and he told him what we were doing, and it was from there that a conversation started to take place, and we started to find out about that he's an eye doctor, and that he excuse me, that he has his own show on YouTube and so on and so forth. And just hearing the things that he was saying, we were like, oh, we definitely have to get him on.
Yeah. And what's funnier about that is like I have this thing where when people ask me about the podcast, I just downplay it so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, because it's like still new to me, you know what I mean? It's like people don't know me from, you know, so when people always, like someone asked me at the store, oh, when I went and got that 100
The 100?
I just was expecting like, just ring me up and get out of here. She's like, oh, what are you celebrating? And I'm like, me and my guy, we do a podcast and we just got to the 100th episode. And then she was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like 100 episodes. I'm like, yeah, and I kind of thought about like, that is pretty cool. Like we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, congrats.
And then,
Thank you.
And then it's just like, I'm just like, why was I trying to downplay that? And then like when Joseph came up, I'm like, oh yeah, we just kept recording. We do a podcast. Thinking he was just gonna like, oh, cool, and then keep moving. He's like, oh, actually, I do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I recorded, and I'm like, oh, so it was just cool. That was just cool, like, you know, just how things just happen. You know what I mean?
Well, it takes a lot of courage and guts to put your voice out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Just be you.
Yeah.
You know, and to talk about subjects and things that matter to you. To, you know, share stories and have these discussions. And so I think it's amazing. You guys definitely should be proud of it.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate that. Before I ask my next question, I was gonna say to what you're saying, E, you know, how you kind of downplay the podcast. I feel like that's kind of two things. One for you, and me as well. Like one is, you know, this is still new to us. Even though we've been doing this for a few years now. Yeah. No one knows who we are. So this is just like a thing that we're still doing. We enjoy it. Yeah. But we're never gonna broadcast and be like, hey, listen, this is what we doing, man. Like, I'm doing this. No.
And you also, I think it also is why, because, you know, we talk about the mental health, but we also have like loose demeanor where we just have fun. We nerd out on stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I love, you know what I mean? I love Marvel. I love, you know, we nerd out on stuff like that. And it's like, for me, it's like, do people care? But I like, as much podcasts I listen to, I'm like, well, I wouldn't press play if I didn't. If I would just, it's not for me then. You know what I mean? And so just getting into that mindset, it's like, well, someone's listening, you know. And
Somebody.
like, I'm enjoying, like, I told you before, my whole like process, I love the editing process of everything. Like, that's just how I've been for a while. I just like creating stuff and putting stuff in place. And the final project, I can create 5 episodes and I probably won't listen to it until like a month later, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just that process is really cool to me. So this is like something like we both enjoy doing, and we finally said, all right, we're doing it, and now we've got 100 episodes under our belt, you know. And it's not a lot, but it's a lot.
It's a long time. I'm not gonna let you get away with that.
Yeah.
100 episodes is a lot.
Absolutely, especially for we record in Minneapolis, so that's a whole lot, you know, just the process.
104, that includes this one,
Absolutely.
to be correct. But yeah, I totally feel you. 2, it has to do with personalities.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who will be vocal about what they're doing, whether they have 1 subscriber to their podcast or, you know, a mill. How you want to not portray yourself, but who you are as a person, that's going to come out in other ways. So when somebody asks you, oh, like, what are you doing? It's a surprise, but you're still going to handle it in the same way that you would handle most conversations.
Yeah.
You're going to be casual about it. Moving on from that, though, Joseph, back to you. Having this conversation, I am curious, what are interactions that you have with people when they don't know what you're doing?
And let me add to that. How have you always had the confidence to want to spread that knowledge of, you know, that you are spreading and that you are sharing with?
Coming with the heavy questions.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's always, I think, a little bit of a challenge, especially when I started off doing like the YouTube thing. I'm like, how do I tell people about this? At first, I think I was a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was really worried, not so much what the public thought of me sharing knowledge about eye care on YouTube, but I cared more about my other colleagues. Like, what do other eye doctors gonna think about this YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Are they gonna think I'm a disgrace to the profession? Are they gonna be angry that I'm sharing this knowledge? Are they gonna think that I'm sharing wrong information because I'm not? I really try to make things easy to understand, so I'm not necessarily presenting it the way I would present education lectures to other doctors.
No, you're doing it for the common folk.
Yeah, and like that's who needs to know this information. So that's kind of why I geared it that way. Once I realized, hey, this is again valuable information. This is something that could save somebody's eyesight. Like it could. Like then if I hold this back from somebody, like I'm like, what kind of a person would I be if I had this knowledge?
All this knowledge.
That could save you your eyesight. It could prevent you from going blind, and I'm keeping that from you.
Right.
That's evil. So I think in a way, I mean, I don't go around with a banner on my car. I don't go and introduce myself to everybody. But you know, like when I saw you gentlemen out there, I'm just like, oh well. I just had it, you know, hey, I see we have a common interest. At least I was interested in microphones and what you guys were up to.
Yeah.
And just shared with you, I have a little bit of experience with that. But yeah, I try to share it with patients who I think, I don't go around to every patient of mine and tell them, oh, you should check out this video or whatnot.
Yeah.
As soon as they're done, it's like, all right, so you have this going on, you need to do this. Oh, by the way, I got this YouTube channel.
For people who I think it is valuable, if I have a patient who's like, I really want to explain this disease to you, but I have another 4 patients who are getting angry because I need to go see them. I'm going to see you next week, but in the meantime, here's this,
Oh,
this
cool.
you can
That's
watch
cool.
this, and then if you have questions, we can talk about it more.
Right.
And becomes a resource for them.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
legit. Nice. Cool, man.
That's so funny, man. Because when I talk to like my coworkers, they try to ask me about the podcast. I just joke out of it. I get it. I like, don't talk to me about
Like,
like outside of work. But I have actually good friends that I work with, so they support, and it's pretty cool, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's cool. You can share that resource with them. So then when they come back, it's like, and then they probably went on a rabbit hole like we always do, and watch several of your videos. So
Right.
now they just more informed, man. Damn, that's awesome.
That does make me wonder about something, not just sharing information with clients, but being in your field and just with us on the podcast. This is a Symposium podcast. We focus on mental health and other various things. You being in your field, there are definitely things that you come across that are a part of the mental health field, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so how do I ask this? Like, what are some things that you've come across where it's like, okay, I know we're focused on your eyes, but this seems deeper than that?
So this is a really good question. This kind of comes back to a couple of things, but so most patients that come into the clinic, we definitely can tell if they're stressed out, if they're on drugs. If we have to take their history with their medications. So a lot of people, we know that they're on anti-anxiety medications, antidepressants. We'll even sometimes, you can just tell someone's off or weird, and they may just be that type of person.
Yeah.
But I've had times where I could tell, especially if it's a return patient, like I've seen them a few years, like I can tell they're not in a good mood. I can tell something's off. And there are some physiological conditions of the eyes where stress affects their eyesight. So those are other things that we have to be attuned to and be alert for making appropriate, ordering testing and making a diagnosis and prescribing treatment for those sort of things. But we do see quite a bit of mental health issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any cases that really stand out to you? I mean, I know you've seen a ton of clients.
Yeah, so the biggest ones that come to mind, and I did do a YouTube video on kind of how stress affects the eyes at one point. So there is a condition called central serous chorioretinopathy. It is a mouthful, right? Who makes up?
Insert the words here.
So that condition is it's where people come in, their vision's blurry, and they know their vision's off, or they'll even describe that their vision seems like a bubble, like it's magnified or minified, like everything seems stretched in a weird way. And what happens in the back of the eyes, they end up having this blister of fluid. Imagine like a blister on your thumb or your finger, if you raked or shoveled or something in the winter. You get this blister in the back of the eye, and this is usually because when we're stressed out, you get cortisol released from your adrenal glands, right? They're above your kidneys. And some people seem hypersensitive to either endogenous cortisol that they produce themselves in their own body, or exogenous cortisol that they get from an outside source, whether it be an injection into their knee or their spine for an injury, or they have a steroid cream on their hand, or they take Flonase maybe here in the springtime.
Yeah.
And so some people are just hypersensitive, and it causes this fluid, blood source in the back of the eye. It causes these little blood vessels to leak, and it ends up causing a fluid buildup inside the retina. And so we'll occasionally see that, and that's a condition we'll have to monitor and manage. I've had a couple of patients now. One that I'll never forget, and I was an extern, so it was my final year of schooling, and it was a woman who was you could just tell she was distraught. She was not in a good mood. She was emotional. She could not see.
Yeah.
She came in saying she cannot see, that she feels like she's blind, and she couldn't barely read the biggest letter on the chart, like the 2400 letter at the top, the giant E or giant A. And we look inside her eye, and we have a couple of different instruments where we can kind of get pretty close to what your glasses prescription would be, even without asking somebody better one or two. And we're like, you shouldn't need glasses, and you have no other health issues wrong with your eye. Why can't you see? And so there is a condition which has changed names a few times. It used to be called hysterical amblyopia. Now we kind of don't use that term anymore. Now we use it, functional vision loss is the term that we use.
Sure.
But it's usually when someone's under extreme amount of emotional stress, and it's neurologically they cannot see. Their eyeballs still work and they should be able to see, but it's like somewhere the information being sent to that part of the brain logically gets shut off.
Yeah.
So for that woman, we talked with her and she eventually just broke down. She cried. She explained how she was going through a bad divorce. And so it was like 30 minutes of us just sitting there and her venting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listening. Yeah.
And once she settled down and she started feeling better, we asked her, like, okay, let's just have you read the chart one more time. And she read the 20/20 line straight across.
Really?
And it was just like, wow. Like,
She needed that like release. Damn.
So it shows you how much so much our brains are really the most powerful thing, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of a cool story.
That's there's so many words, but that's like that's wild and amazing at the same time, in my opinion. But I don't know, man, like it's very interesting how your mental health can be affected in certain ways. And something that's going on with you mentally, it can go from that to something happening with you on a physiological level. And like just for your eyes to be affected, I think that shit is wild. Not only that, but just with what you're doing, Joseph, the things that you are sharing with clients and even with your YouTube channel, you said it already, it's like you want to share this information. Imagine if you weren't doing that. You know what I mean? Like the level of stress that somebody would have because they don't have that sort of resource. Even if they come across your page, that's still something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think that the channel is a good resource for people. I hope it doesn't, I hope I don't scare people or give, there's some titles I've made that are a little bit, what do you call it, clickbaity?
Yeah.
I've made
You might die!
Yeah. That's part of the YouTube game, and that's really just trying to feed into the algorithm so that people can even find your video. That's a weird mindset that I had to adopt. I'm like, look, I need to make this a little clickbaity so that people can pay attention to it and click it. Because the more people who click it and watch it, the more the algorithm is going to favor it. And that means more people will get awareness about this important thing that could help them. And so it's like, I don't mean to like trick you, but I need you. It's not a sexy topic. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be in the top 10 trending videos. So it's like, I need to do every little bit I can just to get a slight favor in the algorithm so that if somebody 2 years from now is looking up some eye disease that they've never heard of, that they'll find my video and it won't get buried under 200 other videos.
Out of curiosity, to hear you say that, because you are right, you do have to do those things for the greater good, one might say. What's the most clickbaity title you had?
Ooh, there was a video, there was a publication, I think 2017. It was a pilot study out of like Indonesia, and it was on using pineapple to treat eye floaters. And eye floaters is something people are really annoyed with. Do you guys have floating spots in your vision at all?
Yeah.
So eye floaters, a lot of people are annoyed by them. They can be a sign of more serious issues. But this pilot study came out, and it wasn't, it's not the best study because it's a pilot study. It was just like the beginning. Like it was just, it wasn't the best well done or anything, but I'm like, okay, let's just do a report on it. And I made like a kind of a clickbaity title and everything that says like, floaters no more, natural dry eye treatment or floater treatment.
Floater treatment.
There we go. And it blew up. It got like, I think it's got several 2 to 3 million views now. And I'm not the most proud of that video. But at least it did get in front of people. It did grow the channel. It brought people's awareness that the channel exists.
Yeah.
And it at least captured attention in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I look back at that video and I kind of cringe at it myself.
But same time, 2 million views.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a part of it, but...
And you're not putting out like negative, like...
Yeah.
Right, I put a lot of effort to make sure that what I do put out there is factual, it's researched. I always encourage people to always talk to their local eye doctor to get a proper diagnosis for proper treatment, or if they are going to try something that even isn't the most medically sound, that they still talk with their doctor so the doctor knows what they're going to attempt or try.
Right.
And so that they still get the best care that they can.
Just talking about this, outside of having clickbait or doing clickbait, one thing to go off of as well is how many likes you have. Like likes compared to dislikes. That's how you know you have something that's actually useful. Because, I mean, you could put out a lot of bullshit. You could.
Yeah, I mean...
Have you ever disliked a video?
Yes.
Why?
Because I didn't like it. But like...
So like why, though? Like, if you didn't like it, what made you, like, press dislike? So you would never see that type of content again? Or... Like, what does that do?
It doesn't.
What does dislikes do for a video?
It doesn't happen often, but for me, I would dislike a video if it was just distasteful.
Yeah. Okay.
Like what? It's not just me, but just kind of thinking, okay, what does this do for people?
Mm-hmm.
How is this useful? What are coming down to the question? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's the point of this? Again, it doesn't happen often. Sometimes I'll
Yeah,
watch
no,
a
that's
video
fine.
and I'm like, all right, whatever. But if it's not useful to anyone, or it's something that's truly negative, I'm like, dislike.
Yeah.
So
there's some interesting statistics with likes and dislikes. In general, the algorithm just likes engagement. So whether somebody hits a like button or dislikes it doesn't matter to the algorithm.
It doesn't matter, right? That's what I was wondering. Okay.
It does matter a little bit because you can at least gauge people's interest in that subject.
Okay.
And you also don't want to piss people off, because if you piss people off, then they're unlikely to watch you another time.
Yeah, true.
Or they're likely to unsubscribe if they are not a subscriber.
Mm-hmm.
But I think of like famous radio show Howard Stern. Like
it's been around forever.
Yeah, but when he first blew up, most people who listened to him were not people who liked him. Were people who didn't like him.
Absolutely.
Because they're just like, what is this crazy guy gonna say next?
Yeah.
Still
feeding his algorithm though.
But I do look at likes, dislikes. Thankfully, mostly it's a lot of likes. Do
you read like comments?
Oh, I do. I read, comments are good and bad. You do get some haters, but usually those people are just
uninformed.
They don't understand. It's like I have so many other things in my life personally, let alone patients to see, let alone other videos to make, than to try to give I can't give them free medical advice.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge.
It's wild for you to just meet my thought process is like having negative comments about this subject. Cause it's like, what do you think? Like, he's trying to help you, but that's just the world we live in. Like everybody's not gonna like what you do, and it is what it is. But like,
you're a hater.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The tough thing is that being that this is a little bit about mental health, it's tough when you see a video that you like. I put 20 some hours into this video. I worked really hard. I edited it, and I'm proud of it. It looks good. It's scientifically sound.
Took my time.
Yeah, and and then you put out the video, and not only do you not get many views on it because it's not a sexy topic or something like that, maybe your title isn't very good, but you lose subscribers. Like I guarantee you, I lose 11 to 25 subscribers instantly once I post a video, and I don't know why.
I was gonna ask, like, is it because of the title? Is it because of the...
They just don't like you anymore. Maybe they like the channel because I help them with contacts, and all of a sudden I'm talking about retinal detachments, and maybe they're just like, what is this? You know, they unsubscribe.
I'm over this, yeah.
But, you know, I've gotten used to it where I don't take it personally. I'm like, okay, it's just, this isn't my ideal subscriber. You know, maybe at some point they'll have an eye care thing and they'll come back. And no matter what, that information will be there, whether they subscribe or not. And I hope that they like the information and find it valuable, that they will subscribe, because that does help to some extent. It increases the reach and more people will find the channel. But over time, on a long enough timeline, most videos do slowly grow in subscriber numbers. You know, so you're like, I lost 25, but over the course of 5 more months, maybe I'll grow another 100. You know, so you net 75.
Just kind of brush it off a little bit.
You do have to get through that.
Tough skin.
But it's still disappointing when you work so hard for a video.
Absolutely.
And you're like, wow, I put that many hours into that and it just didn't go anywhere. No one watched it. A few people commented. And then you're like, it sucks. But
that's the general word, yeah.
So
you just gotta stand back up, brush it off, and go do another one.
So as far as like the YouTube and the content, what is some tips you learned early for like people that are new to this, like new to the YouTube and new to the content game? What's some advice you would give, like say for us?
Yeah, good question.
Number one, don't expect you're gonna blow up and become famous overnight. Don't expect it's going to make you millions of dollars. I think in the news we hear about like Jacksepticeye, a video gamer who's got like 25 million subscribers. Like, yeah, he makes $20 million a year playing video games. It's ridiculous.
I didn't know he was making that much money.
You know, there are content creators who make ridiculous amounts of money that way.
Absolutely.
But it didn't happen to them overnight, and you don't know if they're really happy doing it.
Exactly.
And,
that's true.
So I guarantee you, when you start, it'll be a slow grind. No one will watch you. You have to be doing it for the right reasons. You need to be passionate about what you're doing. You need to enjoy what you're doing to some extent.
Absolutely.
I went into it in those first few months of just like, I'm doing this because I know I wasn't doing it to make money. I wasn't doing it to start a side business or anything like that. It wasn't until the channel started to generate a level of income, and I was almost killing myself because I was working myself to death, that I was like, okay, if I'm gonna keep doing this, I need to find a better balance. So that's why I switched to a few days a week in the clinic versus 5 days a week in the clinic and still doing this. So, again, number one, just expect you're not going to blow up overnight. Two, again, find something that you're passionate in. Three is probably learn to get over perfection. Learn that.
Damn, that's
because like you could make a video or try to edit, you know, forever. You could just keep editing forever.
That's my issue. I always it gotta be right. It gotta be right. But what is right? Like, what is...
and no one will really notice or appreciate it.
Exactly. Yeah. Damn, that was good.
And so when I first started, my other buddy Sean, he was like, just be dedicated to posting like 1 video a week. That's what he encourages. And early on, I slowed down a little bit. It was like every 2-3 weeks, just because I was learning to edit. I didn't know how to use a camera or sound, so I was just learning. But at least I'm like, okay, at 10 o'clock tonight, no matter where my edit's at, I am done. And so you can, maybe in older videos, you could watch like, wow, the beginning, the first 3 minutes were edited really well, and then the last 2 minutes were very choppy. And that's because I ran out of time. And I was just, but it was it was good. And this is what I get from my therapist is one, it's good. What you have just on its own is probably good. And it's enough. It's not good enough, because that sounds like it's not.
Right.
It sounds like it's lacking.
It's like it's good, but
No. It's
want
good,
it. Yeah.
and it's enough.
And
Yeah.
So it's like a little different mindset. And then just know you're going to improve over time. You're going to get a little faster.
Yeah.
You're going to get a little bit more efficient. You're going to learn a little bit better editing skill or a little bit video writing skill. But every day or every week you get up to bat and you're taking a swing that your neighbor or other people who aren't doing this, they're not even getting up to take that swing.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So you guys have gotten up to bat 104 times. Like that's way more than anybody else that I know has. So that's amazing.
Appreciate that. It's big facts. We've been on this marathon today for episodes, and there seems to be a common theme I'm noticing. It started with our buddy Jake and how he talked about, almost being like a coin going down a spiral, and he's had some tough times. And like once he got down into the spiral, he didn't worry about things anymore. He was already there. So now he started to focus on things that he really wanted to do. And the reason that he kind of came to that is because just being worried about so many things and wanting to do different things, finally being in this spot, he was like, okay, I realized, because he said his philosophy changed, right? He said, I realized I no longer want to survive because there's something beyond that. He's like, well, what do I need to do? I don't want to survive, I want to thrive. And, that's something that we've heard with him, that's something that we've heard with our other guest, Tom, and even with you talking about your YouTube channel. You're an eye doctor and you've been doing this for quite some time, but you talk about the grind in terms of like what it takes to not only be an eye doctor, but provide resources, provide information to people. Who could possibly dislike your shit?
And you just want to get it out. You just just trying to get it out, get information out, good information out. Like it's not even about the other shit. That comes with it, which is great. But at the end of the day, your goal was to spread this knowledge that you can't just do with your patients one-on-one. You know what I mean? So
you got it.
And now you've
It's
hit a community.
I'll be honest, it's not easy. It has not been an easy road. It has been a mental, not just a physical struggle and a creative struggle, because you understand, I know I can already tell you got a creative angst in you. You're like, you're staying up, getting excited, getting into a flow state with editing. Like that, you can burn yourself out pretty fast.
Absolutely, yes.
Trying to be creative. But I know from just a business standpoint, trying to make finances work, trying to, again, I have an editor now, I brought her on, that costs money. Okay, how does a business, do I make, how do I make this work? That's a challenge. Just being exhausted, and then all those doubts in your head. Is this gonna look good? Is it gonna sound right? Is the camera set up the right way? Maybe I should shoot it in the living room. Maybe I should shoot it at the clinic. Maybe it'll, am I wearing the right thing? Is my hair the right way? Oh no, I've got a zit on my cheek. You start having, you go into some dark mental places with it.
So how do you balance that?
I do find exercise helps. If I can push myself, like that Saturday when I came back from running. If I can push myself exercise-wise, I feel like a lot of the little things, like worrying about my skin or my hair, no one's watching my channel for how I look. They're watching for the information. And so you kind of get over that. You get over your ego a little bit. So I find I shoot better videos, and if I work out first. So I go get a workout, come back, shower, get dressed,
I like that.
and then shoot.
I like that.
Because I'm just not in my head as much.
I like that.
I do meditation, or I've been practicing meditation for some time. I try to do that twice a day. a morning and then right before bed. It helps a lot. This is a little bit of a side thing. It works for, I found it helps me both for YouTube, but also for work in the clinic and helping patients.
Okay.
I find that when I meditate, I spend a lot of time not just giving gratitude, but I give love to myself. Because I find that there's a part of me, or if you follow IFS or internal family systems, internal therapy or counseling, I know there's this little kid in me that really wants love from my parents. Like it wants to make my parents proud. It wants to make, I want respect and for my father. I want love from my mother.
Yeah.
And as a grown adult now, it's like, if I'm not getting that, it's like, I don't need that from them. I don't need to do anything to get that from them. I need to give that to myself.
Yeah.
So I meditate in the mornings and I make sure that I feel complete in that way. I already feel that love and respect and pride for myself. Because then when I show up for my patients, I don't need to fill that cup from that. I don't need my patient to fill my empty cup that I need love. I don't need them to like me as a friend, as a person. I'm there to do my job, to be the best doctor I can be for them. Same thing for the videos. Like, I'm not trying to impress somebody by how cool I look on YouTube, because I already love myself enough. I'm there to just serve them.
Content, yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
100%. Yeah, dude.
And that's more of a recent thing I've adopted, that mindset, and I've been practicing that more recently. So
Good for you. That's serious. There's depth there. It's the best way I could put it.
and I think a lot of doctors have trouble with that. A lot of medical professionals will say after they became a doctor that they kind of regret it, because it's usually that they were pushed or driven into that to make their parents happy, because they wanted the respect or they wanted the finance, but that's purely either instilled on them by their parents or from our society telling them that they are successful and that they will be happy with following that career path. And then they get to that career path and then they're like, shit, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. And so, yeah, it's kind of a fascinating thing.
Yeah, I get that. I do. Yeah, E, do you have any other questions?
No, man. I have a million questions. But
Yeah.
Not for today.
Yeah.
Not for today. This is amazing.
We
This
keep
is
going,
amazing.
but let's get into our last call. So last call is where we reflect on the conversation that is taking place and, give our final thoughts on things. E, you had it last time. I can kick it off this time. So much information.
Yeah.
So many, whole lot of gems in this episode. But man, honestly, I don't know. I don't.
Honestly, I was gonna say, dude, everything about this episode has been like refreshing. It has been like impactful and it's been informative. And like you literally from start to finish, you can take something from this episode and apply it to like your life. Whether it's not even about. It's just more than what we talk about. Like just more than the eye, just the eye doctor thing and the social media, because just even I'm still fascinated by how you even got into this field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's so cool to me. And then like to be like just to have the knowledge of like, all right, I want to spread this message to people and how can I do it? And then the time we're living in is like it's perfect. Like why not make this kind of content? Like you said, oh yeah, it's not sexy content, but it's like, it's informative. Like, we're gonna get to the age where it's like, fuck, like, what's going on with my head, you know what I mean? Because the eye's connected to the brain and all that, you know? And then that's where the mental stuff come into. And it's just all important, man. It's a great message that you're spreading and that you're sharing with everyone. And I just think this is probably one of the coolest episodes we've had, and we've had 104 of them. So,
well, I really appreciate
this has been very, very cool, and I'm so glad we got to do this, man. For real, for real. I took so much from this episode. Like I said, I really do have a lot of questions, but we'll have another time to catch up.
After hearing you, helped me gather some thoughts here. There are two things that I take away from this interview. Excuse me, this conversation, because interviews are like one question after another.
Yeah.
There's nothing in order. One was towards the end of what you said. It's like, you do have to tend to yourself. Like you have to love yourself 100%.
Absolutely.
Somebody said it to me years ago. It's like, you have to be your own parent. You have to show up for that kid, especially when no one else did. And it's like, that's true. No one else is gonna do it but you. So why wouldn't you do it? Two is, like, this is a really big thing, especially with what you were talking about, how somebody would ask you about the pod and you're kind of low key about it. Which is okay, but don't be ashamed of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not saying that you do that.
Oh, yeah,
It's more like this. It's like, if you're doing something that can help people, you gotta share that.
Yeah.
So basically, don't gatekeep.
Yes.
Don't do that. Don't gatekeep.
That's great context for that. Yeah.
So those are the two takeaways from this. It's like, love yourself and don't gatekeep. It's like, because if those are things that need to be shared in the world, because that's what helps us be better as people. That's what helps us move forward.
Absolutely.
So, Joseph, what do you got for the people? What's your last call? What's your final thoughts?
Well, I would say just first, thank you guys. I have a lot of gratitude for just being on here, getting to meet you guys, and just hearing that you guys are doing this and talking about this. I've been listening to a few of your guys' different previous episodes, and it actually is very refreshing, especially just because a lot of your episodes you're talking with other men and mental health things and their struggles. And men are just notorious for not talking about these things. And I think just giving air to these conversations, the struggles that we do have, we learn a lot from each other, we support each other, and probably one of the reasons why our society has so many challenges is because we don't talk about these things.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys are doing is awesome, and I again appreciate just being here.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man.
Okay, E.
All right.
Bring us home.
It has been a great day at that, though. We want to thank you guys and gals for joining us and supporting us. This has been another wonderful, amazing episode of the Symposium podcast. This is Rose Gold.
Yep.
I love the jacket, by the way. I'm E. Wright, and our special guest,
Joseph.
Thank you.
Dr. Joseph.
Dr. Joseph. Put some respect on his name.
Dr. Joseph. Thank you for joining us, and it's been a pleasure, man. This is by far one of my favorites. Just the knowledge you share with us, and I hope you guys, the people, take some gems from this as well. Great episode. Thank you guys for joining us again. It's episode 104. Like I always say at the end, right? If it costs your mental health, it's too expensive, all right? And most importantly, take care of your eyes, all right?
Yeah. There we go.
Appreciate you guys.
Right.
Till the next episode, we out.